fucking party.
All right.
All right.
Yes.
Right.
Outrage Factory now.
Oh, that's so good.
we're in.
Hello, Internet. Jayme
Hey, Internet.
McDonald is
Welcome.
our guest. Derek.
Welcome to a fucking super festive edition of Outrage Factory.
Christmas.
We're feeling the holiday spirit. We got Jayme McDonald, who is a very festive guy in his own regard, joining us. Jayme.
Oh yeah.
For those people who don't remember you from the last episode you were on, why don't you tell us what your fucking deal is?
Ready with the
Hi
swears,
guys.
Yeah.
He came from a Zoom child's birthday party, so he's all pent up with swearing. I'm sure.
I think I might have I dropped a few F-bombs on that call. I'm not 100% certain.
Hi guys. I'm Jayme McDonald, also known as MD, also known as Chatterless. I produce music and score films and documentaries, of which I have one that just hit streaming services very recently in the last couple of days called Dosed, and it's on Apple Plus TV and Amazon Prime, and you can check it out. I think it's on YouTube Rentals as well. It's kind of expanding almost daily. So if you will go out and check out Dosed, I think you'll really like it. It's about using psilocybin, magic mushrooms, to treat addiction and mental health issues. It's pretty harrowing stuff.
Joe Rogan talks about that a lot. Hey, Derek?
But Joe Rogan, like, even a complete piece of shit, is right twice a day. And Joe Rogan.
Good one. No, but yeah, it's like, it's good because like right now they're opening up testing on psilocybin for mental health issues and stuff. Is it like a documentary about that?
It is a documentary. Yeah. So
Nice.
It is a documentary. It follows the story of one particular case. But it's not very linear, and it has like a lot of just like it's a very interesting and intriguing story. The girl that they follow, she's very deep, like she's on methadone, she's as well as she's also addicted to, like, her opiate addiction is incredible. She's doing both at the same time. It's like,
wow, that's like super bad, right?
It's tragic. Yeah. It's wild.
And it's not actually.
I recommend that.
I was just wanted to point out that it's not just Joe Rogan. It's the guy from Spit and Chicklets also condones mushroom use because he microdoses all the time.
Yeah, you know who else does? Medical professionals, not fuckboy podcast hosts.
Derek.
Actual people.
I should let you guys.
Brains.
We're fuckboy podcast hosts.
We are. I would never ever.
I wish.
Two things. One, Joe Rogan endorsed the documentary with Paul Stamets on his podcast. So that's one thing.
This specific documentary.
Yes.
Now what do you got to say about Joe Rogan, Derek? Sounds like a good guy to me.
Wait. And second thing is, I play NHL 21 online on PS4. And my team that I'm with Alex Sparling, comedian and bar owner. he's the name of our team is the Drink Whitneys, which is
nice.
Pink Whitneys, which is
the Pink Whitneys.
So there's 2 little points for you there, boys.
I was gonna say we should play NHL 21 together, but I have an Xbox One, so we can't. No. I have the superior system if you're playing Cyberpunk, that is, because it doesn't work on PS4. Sorry, Jayme.
Can we jump? Can we jump right into this Cyberpunk?
Are we gonna waste that beautiful segue I just threw out there?
That's a fucking great ass segue.
I mean, it's been so long since I had a segue that smooth.
It was great. Who wants to go ahead and lay that out for what exactly the drama, the outrages around Cyberpunk 2077?
I mean, I'm not really a game. The hypest gaming console I own is a Nintendo Switch. So I'll let Dale take this one on.
Okay.
I just know people are mad about stuff.
So there's this game called Cyberpunk 2077, and they've been building it like under mucho hype for like 10 years. and it was supposed to come out, I think, like 2 years ago, and it kept getting pushed back and getting pushed back. And then the last time they pushed it back because the new consoles are coming out, so they wanted to make it so it worked on the Xbox Series S and X and the PS5. But when they did that, they kind of fucked up the coding, or I don't know, the video game guts, whatever that's called, the scientific term.
Maybe you weren't the guy to talk about this.
Okay. So anyways, they fucked all that up. So now there's a whole bunch of bugs, and it's so bad on PS4 that Sony delisted it from the Sony store and is offering no questions asked refunds if you bought the game on PS4, which is something that's never happened.
Completely unprecedented.
In a year full of unprecedented things, this is the latest unprecedented thing to happen. And now everything.
I just wanted to point out, I'm playing it on Xbox One, and it's fine for me. Like, I had it where I only had one problem. I played for like 7 hours, and one time I was in a building, and it cut to an exterior shot of the building, and I was still playing, and I couldn't get. So I just had to like back out of the game and go back in. But nowadays, that's like a regular thing for video games. It's like I feel like a lot of video games have autosave just in case they crash, because it's like they're so in depth and there's so much going on with them now that it's like, and they're under such a time crunch that I don't know. I haven't played a game without any bugs in a long time.
All the people that I know that are playing the game right now are playing on PC, and they're all having the best time of their lives. They're having like just complete jam outs for like 36 hours straight and stuff like that.
Oh, dude, the game is so good.
Yeah, it's they're having such a good time. The unprecedented removal of this game from the PlayStation Store, though, is pretty crazy to say the least, because we should point out that this company that made this game, CD Projekt Red, they're responsible for The Witcher 3, which is widely regarded as one of the best games maybe ever made,
of all
because
time,
it's of all time. It's so well done, and it's rich and deep, and it's just a beautiful game. Anyway, the drop off from that to this in terms of expectation on PS4 really comes back on the user. I think if you have an old generation piece of technology and you're using it to play like something as cutting edge as this game, I think it's kind of on you, man. Like, if you're like a last gen person, you should still be able to play it. If they're selling it, you should still be able to play it. But at the same time, like, I don't know, what are you expecting? Like, it's not going to be pixely, but at the same time, it's going to probably lag a little bit, right?
I'm not going to pick up this game and fucking try jamming it into my 1988 NES console and fucking be like, why isn't this thing working? I've just been
exactly.
This game is super popular. I think based on the merits of The Witcher, it's sold something like 7 million or 8 million advanced copies. And then like I said, I'm not a huge console gamer, but for the past 3 or 4 days, I've been just like lurking in the Cyberpunk subreddit. Just like, there's nothing sweeter than a bunch of angry nerds just yelling because they didn't get the video game experience they expected. And it's it's interesting to hear that like the majority of people aren't having problems with it. And
my whole takeaway from this is, the only people everybody's got a bug here or there. Like I said, I've only had one big one, and Jayme said all his friends on PC are having a great time. It sounds like this is a PS4 problem, and because the PS4 is a little bit weaker, like, I don't know, like computer engine wise inside the actual machine than the Xbox. So that's probably why they're running into problems. So I think we just found out the expiry date of the PS4, because both these systems, like Xbox and PS, were like trying to make it so that you could change over slowly. Like, you could play the new games on your old Xbox One, or you could play Xbox One games on the Xbox Series X. And there's like, I think they're opening it up with full backwards compatibility, which they've also never really done. And I guess maybe just on PS4, it's going to be a bigger, going to be a little bit quicker of a transition. I do got to say though, I've been playing it, And the style of the game is, if you're not familiar with it or the Witch, because it's a lot like The Witcher, but it's set in the future. So it's like it would be like playing Grand Theft Auto with more RPG elements, like you have skill trees and stuff. And you can create your own character. And if you pick a dude, you could pick his dick size.
Wow, that's huge.
I went with big.
That's yeah. I'm like, who would go into that and be like, oh, I want the tiny dick.
Yeah. It's funny because
Yeah.
I think the sizing is realistic in jumbo, and I put it on. Well, let's see the realistic. And I was like, I'm not going to do that to my man. I got to put him out in the streets fully equipped for whatever situation comes up.
I mean, you could, you put it, I don't know what the options are, but you could put it, below average or something if you want to role play something you're not comfortable with, or or not.
There is a little selection. It's called Make Dale Feel Better.
Yeah.
And it's like a tiny one. You can also get rid of the pubic hair to make it seem even bigger.
Yeah. Like in real life.
Yeah.
That's the little life hack for our listeners. If
you
you
don't
want
even
your penis to look bigger,
shave it.
Yeah. And also
Lose
make
weight.
best friends or podcast hosts with someone with a dick half the size of yours and always keep them around. And then comparatively, yours will look huge.
Yeah. And then when you send girls dick pics, be like, here's my dick pic. And here's my friend's dick pic.
Here's my best friend.
In case you weren't impressed by mine.
Just always pose, making them kiss, and be like, which one do you like more?
Like
That's
side
mine.
by side. Like that movie that came out a couple of years ago, the Duff, the designated ugly fat friend. You could have like a DUSP, designated ugly short penis. Just include all that.
Merry Christmas.
I'm gonna take this opportunity to Christmas up this podcast and join.
Nice. Get
join
festive.
There we go.
I like how 10 minutes ago Jamie's like a part of this really smart, intelligent social problem documentary, and it is for a good cause. And then we're like, and you can change the size of the dick of this guy in this game. And he's like, all right, that's the podcast I'm on right now. Right.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's what it was like last time. Oh yeah, I remember now. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
40 minutes about penis talk.
Every 6 months I come on here and I'm always disappointed by how dick and fart joking gets right away.
Like, oh yeah, right. Okay. We're intellectuals. I forgot. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Intellectuals, but only one of us has a healthy sized penis. And I'll leave it to our listeners to guess which.
Do you guys? Oh, this is kind of out of the blue, but since we just did something really dumb, I've been listening to audiobooks, and like people who read books, I hear things that are smart, and I'm like, holy fuck, I have to tell people this smart thing that I heard about, so they think I'm smart.
Okay, go ahead.
It's kind of like a mindfulness lesson too. Okay, so does either of you know who Americo Vespucci? I better look up his actual name.
Vespucci?
Vespucci? This is from Sapiens, Derek. So you actually read the book. But yeah, so this guy Americo what was it? Vespucci? Vespucci. Should I look this up, or is that close enough?
That's good. Yeah, I think.
Anyways, the main point is his first name is Americo. So in 1501, Americo landed in Brazil, and he was like, oh, crazy, this must be part of a new continent that we don't know about, which people who are listening to this are like, well, wait, that's 9 years after Columbus landed in the Bahamas in 1492. So Columbus landed in the Bahamas. He was looking for a path to India, and he hit the Bahamas, and he was like, oh, this must be the West Indies. That's why he called the native people who lived there Indians. And there you go. That's part of that story. And then he wouldn't admit that he fucked up. He was like, no, this is part of India. I'm not admitting that this is a new continent. No new continent is there, because otherwise I would know about it, since I'm like the best traveler of the world ever. So he would never admit that it was a new continent. But then when America landed in Brazil, like 9 years later, he was like, oh, this must be part of a new continent that we don't know about. So he got his map makers to just call it like New World because they had no idea what to call it. And then when he went back to Europe and everybody like saw his maps with this new chunk of land on it, they're like, oh shit, why the fuck didn't Christopher Columbus tell us about this? Like he was already there. And they're like, he's probably just being stubborn about it. So instead of calling it New World, they're just like, well, Americo Vespucci found this, so we'll just call it America. So now this guy, Americo, has 2 continents named after him 9 years after someone else discovered them because that other guy was too stubborn to admit that he was wrong.
Wow.
And the moral of the story here is that Dale listens to audiobooks.
I don't read. I just listen to audiobooks. Hey, it's the same thing. I get all the same juicy information rammed into my head. I still get to pretend I'm smart by repeating what they said.
Do you actually retain shit though when you're like, I'm assuming if you're anything like me, like when I listen to podcasts, it is almost like universally when I'm doing something else and like focusing on something else. And then the podcast episode will end and I'll usually be like, well, what the fuck did I just listen to? Because I was focused on this other thing the entire time. Do you actually like retain?
Well, yeah, I retain stuff because like your work, you're like on a computer writing and stuff. Like I can't listen to a podcast and write or read anything because only one of them comes in. But when I work, I'm like working with my hands and building stuff and it's kind of monotonous. So it's like, it doesn't take too much brain activity. So it kind of goes in. Like, I don't retain everything because my fucking memory is bullshit anyway. So it's not like I'm going to remember the whole Sapiens book, but like I remembered this Americo story and like I just remembered it because I was like, holy shit, that's a good lesson to not be stubborn. But yeah, like I retain stuff, I just don't remember it forever. But like with the Sapiens book, I'll be listening to it and then I'll have to think, and it's kind of like too much information at once. So I'll have to just go to like a comedian's podcast where you can miss some stuff. Yeah.
Comedy. Hey, you know what you remember?
Did you know that's actually why, like, you're right, it's a good lesson in being stubborn. That's why some continents, because a lot of people know that it's like the biggest legacy you could have is like having a continent named after you, obviously. So like that's why in Antarctica it was a big disagreement at home. Uncle Arctica wouldn't back down, and now we have Antarctica. You know,
is this a women are the true boss actual story? That's a good one.
Throwing that out there. Just throwing it out there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Practicing your dad jokes in advance of Christmas. Yeah. Are you having a
childless? No.
It's more of a mom joke.
No. Are you having a no? Not doing it. Not doing it.
Yeah. No.
Not a kid. I meant interesting. Can we talk about that? I mean,
sure. Yeah.
Hey, why not?
Good for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, our Americo tale's done. Let's talk about not having children.
What are Dale? Is that the same for you, or are you childless by accident?
I am childish because I don't feel like
childish.
Oh, well, I'm childish by design for sure. For
That's
sure.
hilarious.
But I'm childless by kind of just like happenstance. Like that movie Idiocracy. Have you guys ever seen that?
Yeah.
So it opens up and it's talking about how like the intellectual people aren't willing to make time out of their lives and their career to have children.
They just don't breed. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like my career is super banging that I don't want to take time off. It's just that I don't have enough financial stability yet for me to feel comfortable bringing a child in. So I keep pushing it back. But I mean, I'm getting close, and I'm also getting close to the threshold of like, I'm scared my sperm's going to be dusty. So I don't want to have a kid with asthma who gets picked last in gym class just because I had dusty sperm and he never grew the proper muscles. I don't know if that's science.
Is that how that works?
I think so.
Yeah. Dusty sperm leads to asthma. Yes.
I mean, hey, yeah, guys, blow all the dust out of your sperm first and then dump your loads so you get like healthy kids.
I'm childless by design, my wife and I, because when we first met, within like a week of dating, it was like right on the table right away. We were both like, I don't think I'm gonna have kids, because it was like, where's this going kind of thing. And then it turns out we were both on the same page immediately. And then we had to deal with you know, for the next couple of years, we had to deal with people if they asked, because they'd always be pressuring, you know, people are always like that. They'd be like, oh, just wait till it happens. It's gonna be so, you're gonna wake up one day. And then I like, God damn, I'm like 35, pretty confident this ain't happening. Like, I know, you know, what's going down. And then like, we're like, oh, some celebrities have it at like 50. And it's like, yeah, but they're paying like 15 grand an in vitro shot, like for real, right? So I have a lot of like nieces and nephews. Between the two of us, I think we have like 9. We've got 10 and 11 on the way. So we're good, man. Like in terms of environmental protection as well, just one in, one out.
Oh,
right?
the cost
If
of
you have
having
two
a
people
kid.
yeah. Just the world is, you know, we're good, guys. We don't need that many fucking kids. Like, we're good. We're just fine.
Although I have to wonder, you know, even like looking at, and I'm not saying like, holy shit, we need everyone to start reproducing now, but I think it's going to be interesting if we're going to look at the effects of COVID and say like, okay, that gave us a little bit of, like, not a fucking ton, obviously, but like a little bit of breathing room in terms of population growth.
I don't even think we're at like with the COVID deaths. I don't even think we're at the threshold of reducing the population growth yet. Like, I don't think we've matched the birth rate for deaths yet, have we? With COVID?
No, actually, we're. I just read yesterday that they were anticipating such a baby burst, like a boom with people
From
being
COVID.
at home all the time. Yeah, with COVID, that it hasn't happened, because it's been like, you know, almost 10 11 months now. So people are saying like, experts are suggesting that perhaps people are not comfortable bringing people into this world at this point, and that, you know, that makes a lot of sense, obviously. So I think we're actually probably breaking even. I think it's probably net zero in terms of where we're at.
I heard somewhere
maybe.
too that like people were having kind of less sex because everybody's got this like low level of stress. I don't know why I can't say that word, but we've got this like low level of stress where we're not like wanting to get our funk on as easily as we would normally. Maybe like we're not. It takes more for us to get into the mood, I guess you could say.
I think it's probably more about like people hang around the house and like they're like sleeping clothes all the time. You're not wearing pants, you're not getting ready, you're not going out. There's not as much spontaneity in terms of like environment. So like, you're just, you know, if you're living with a partner, you're not necessarily maybe always on point as you may have been. Like, you don't come home like, hi honey, I'm totally ready. Like, it's nothing like that. It's like you guys are, you know, exchanging looks over in the kitchen once in a while, kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
that's funny you bring that up. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
keep going.
no, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm trying to not be as interrupty on this podcast as I am, but what you were saying about people being in their like bedtime clothes just reminded me, like, we did a drive-by birthday thing for Derek's kid today, because to just like drive by, say happy birthday, and like drop off presents. And as we're getting ready, I go to Andrea, I'm like, can I wear jockey pants? And she was like, no, we're going to the store after. And I was like, I'm bugging her. Because I was like, well, like it didn't matter for you, Derek. I didn't put on jeans for you, Derek. It was
for the strangers at the store.
Yeah, exactly. The strangers who I'll never see again. That's who I dress up for.
But I mean, I'm lucky. I'm lucky that my wife lives across the entire continent, because I've probably spent the majority of the past 10 months just like unwashed in some form of sweatpants. So, you know, I could see why less sex having would be happening. Never mind the fact that there's a lot of people who operate just fine as couples when you're like, oh, we see each other for like 2-3 hours a day, maybe like 5 days a week, and the rest of the time we have the freedom to do our own thing. And now it's like, no, you're in prison. You are literally in prison together. You are cellmates now. Good luck figuring that out.
I was wondering, because I was wondering like the amount of people that either like, imagine it's January again and you just moved in with a loved one, And right, and then it's like you don't know how this is gonna like. What a test! What a test! So I'm thinking about that, and it's like imagine you just hated each other. Like I have a friend. I don't want to say his name, but I have a friend that dumped his girlfriend basically as COVID started, but they had to like stay together for like 4 months. Hard
Yikes.
4 months, man. That's hard 4. So I was like talking him through it. I'm like, just hang tight, buddy. Fucking 1 quarter. You're almost there. Let's go. And it's like it was pretty rough. Yeah, but like imagine that. Like so many people that have just started like these relationships, and then they have to go through these like really intense trials. It's like for better or for worse. It's like, oh, you'll be tested. You'll be tested. I'm pretty sure that the divorce rate is just through the roof. I'm confident. It must be.
Oh yeah, and like I live in a 1-bedroom apartment, and me and Andrea, I'm like, sometimes I'm just like, oh, she hasn't killed me yet. I'm pretty impressed. And I just wanted to bring up like we were talking about the jogging pants. Like I had a like almost new pair of jogging pants. I spilled food all over them, and they're just all stained. And I was like, "Oh fuck! There goes my good jogging pants." So I turned them
normal jogging pants.
I call them my town jogging pants and my work jogging pants. So I made my town jogging pants my work jogging pants, and then from Costco I got some new town jogging pants. And so I kept saying that to Andrea. I was like, I got new town jogging pants. She's like, shut up. And she was like, when I was like, hey, can I wear my jogging pants? She's like, no, put on real pants. And I was like, but they're my town jogging pants.
This is like what she listens to. And then later on, this is what the testimony in the court is. And it's like, then he said this
just
again.
This.
And I had, and then you tell me if I was justified in choking him to death with his jockey town pants, okay? That's what happened.
Judge is just like justifiable homicide. Next.
And his sperm are dusty on top of it all.
That's great.
And he's playing this video game and looking at his penis all day. Like, what was I supposed to do? I couldn't just not kill him.
Just going back to that, do you see the dong in the video game? Like, does it have like as you adjust the size?
It shows you the size like when you're in the creative mode. I haven't been to a scene or part of the story where he takes his pants off again, but I have. Like you pick up outfits as you go. It's like an RPG, but instead of getting like armor and stuff, you get like shirts and pants. And I got these skin tight leather pants, and you could definitely tell he's packing. It's packing. You could see the outline.
Well, I had one of my aforementioned PC friends there call me up and say, "Do you have 10 seconds?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna live stream you something." And so he just quickly Twitch streamed me like a private stream of his create a, I don't know what it's called, like like when you go back to your apartment in the game, and it's like straight up naked, like, and he's like, he had a girl, vulva, this is all there. I was like, oh my god, this is vulgar.
Why didn't they have this when I was 13 years old? And I had to, like, what did we have to do to see a naked woman when we were 13?
We had to. This is what we had to do. We had to swallow our pride. We had to swallow our pride as kids and say, "Listen, I don't mind playing a female main character if I can play Tomb Raider and watch Lara Croft jump into a water pool."
Yeah,
that was it.
And then
that was the like. Yeah, she was like one of the first, I think, and she had like these like a torpedo rack, basically. It's just these giant pixels that made no sense.
Some polygons.
That was like the proportions of her body make like they're just biologically impossible. But definitely laid the path for my expectations of what all women should and could look like. So
am I like glitchy for you guys?
No, you were kind of shitty at the beginning, but I think you're okay now.
Was Jayme shitty for you, Derek?
No, Jayme sounds good.
He kind of skipped a bit for me there. Okay. I just want to make sure before, like, because, like, I don't know. I just had a message that said,
You're unstable.
shitty internet or whatever.
Tennille in the chat said Leisure Suit Larry, and I want to say that was a personal favorite of mine. That was
good call, Tennille. Tennille in the chat. Good call.
Yeah,
that is a very good call.
I believe he actually spits on his hands and simulates jerking off at one point, and I was like, "This is a game? What the fuck?"
Yeah. I play games for escapism, not to remind me of what my life is like.
Yeah, dude, it was that's definitely one of them. That's hilarious, man. I haven't thought of that.
Okay,
bring it back.
Sorry, guys, to derail us. I'm just gonna make sure Andrea's not streaming in the next room because it keeps being shitty for a bit.
Go tell her she won't get any dusty sperm.
Don't talk about my dick when I'm gone.
All right.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay, Derek, interview me about Dale's dick. Go ahead.
About Dale's dick. Jayme, as the world's foremost expert on Dale's penis, would you say it's tiny or just below average?
I mean, listen, as far as I know, when Derek DeRuiter wears town pants, he's packing, right? That's what I understand. And you know, who am I to judge a man who has different, environment pants like that, like town pants, home pants? I mean, that's a strange thing. But like, he's got it. Sure.
You can take the boy out of Enderby, but you can't take the Enderby out of the boy, I guess is the moral of the story there. Hey, I want to take a second to say I'm happy to see you upright, moving around, living life. Thank you.
Married, happy man.
Thank you.
So stoked to see that. Like, I was very, very concerned for you during this year. It was like I did not like seeing these updates where you were just laid out on the ground with back issues and stuff. And you're too young of a man and too vibrant of a soul to be in that situation.
Well, so I'm happy I'll agree with the vibrant of the soul thing.
Yeah, dude.
But
resignation.
Thank you. Like, yeah, it was a shitty. Was she streaming?
No. No. I think what happened was I'm using my laptop or her laptop because mine's old and shitty, so I can't host Zoom calls. So she was using mine, and I had all of my shit open, and it was in the background because she was watching a DVD. So I think that might have been it. So I closed it all.
No, this was just an excuse to go Mariah Carey diva change into your new.
I figured it would be a good. This is
wardrobe change.
I thought this would be better and less likely to move around and fall off, but it's not. They're moving around a lot.
Yeah, but thank you, Jayme. I appreciate you saying it was. It was a shitty year. It was a shitty year for everyone. We all fucking made it through. It was funny. I was looking. What?
Were you guys getting like real deep and I come back in and I put on reindeer ears?
We started off
fucking all up.
We were joking about your dick and then we were just, catching up. So a little of both, I guess.
Maybe if I put this...
It's
I was trying to be I put your dick over. I put your dick over in a wrestling sense. Okay. I put your dick over. And then
is my dick the heel or the face?
Yeah. Oh well, for face, baby face for sure. And then I also and then I put Derek over and his Derek's back over too.
Nice.
Put my back over.
Okay, I think we should be good now. Sorry, I hate to interrupt the live stream, but I didn't want anything super smart to be said and then get lost.
I think it's fair that we punish anyone who tunes in for these things live because, fuck you. Have better things to do with your time,
Derek,
than listen to these.
We're not going to be like fucking Paul Brothers rich if you tell people not to watch us.
Right. Didn't I see one of them? Oh, fuck.
That was, I think we already talked about like the boxing match where Evander Kane.
I wasn't on the, I was.
We already talked. Yeah, that was when you weren't here.
The one between the woman beater fucking Floyd and then
oh yeah, that's like a whole big thing.
I like fuck them both.
Yeah.
Anyway, if we already talked about it, let's move on.
Yeah, we already talked about it. Do you guys Are you guys done having your deep conversation that I just fucking big faced my way in the middle of, or do you guys want to revisit that a bit?
I said what I had to say. I'm just happy to see Derek doing well, and yeah, he deserves to be the state that he's in now, happy and up. That's
just upright, like that.
Your back stuff.
Yeah, like what that did
yeah.
for my fucking like my expectations for like what a good life is like, oh, if I can get the fuck off of a floor now, like that's, to me, that's a good day, sort of. I mean, I was during that whole situation, I was like, I'm just gonna be so grateful for people when I can get back in public and like see people again. And I'm just like, I'm not gonna be this asshole who gets annoyed with all this little shit. And that lasted until like the first time I got in my car and went out on Vancouver roads and drove for like 2 seconds. And I was like, these fucking assholes. Nobody knows how to drive in this city. But apart from that, I'm trying to practice gratitude as much as I can.
Yeah, it's funny. It was pretty tough to watch you go through that, but I never wanted to bring it up, be like, oh man, that must suck for you and stuff. Because like you already know it sucks. I'm like, I'll just treat them like everything's normal, because nobody wants to just be reminded of the shitty situation they're in and everything. But yeah, it's good to see that you're back up and you're pepping up and you're like, I don't know, you handled that pretty well. Like I would have fucking gotten back into 9 Inch Nails and had some pretty emo tweets coming out. Happened to me.
You can ask my wife. I was severely depressed, or my mom, who's also here for a while, taking care of me. But you know,
it's almost kind of nice because you get to see what it's like to be depressed, but then your situation changes and you come out of it. So it's almost like you get to maybe see what people who don't get to just come out of it in a different situation are going through, and you kind of be like, oh, that's what it's like. They just don't get to get up off the floor, so to speak. Like,
I think that was the main thing, is that like getting more empathy for people who are going through, especially people in chronic pain. Like and this is going to sound callous and shitty, but it's true. Before it happened, like I know people who experience chronic pain and they would talk about it, and I'd be like, okay, but like, come the fuck on, like take some painkillers and like get on with your Jayme.
What?
Did I lose you? Do you have chronic pain?
I'm here.
All right.
How did you go back out? How did you go out and right back in so fast?
I don't know what happened. People tried to video chat me just 5 seconds ago, like, "Hey, you're on a fucking show." I'm like, dude, that's the dumbest thing to do, is video chat me.
People are watching this. I'm impressed that one of your friends is watching this to try to fuck with you while we're doing it. Big ups to them.
It seems like a few people are watching, so
respect.
Yeah,
they have my respect.
Just in terms of mental health, I think the last time I was on the show, I was talking a little bit about the steps I was taking to really, get control of where I was at, and I was alluding to where that actually led me to, but I didn't really feel comfortable talking about it at the time. But I'm there. I'm taking baby steps now. Earlier this week, I was on the Holy Sock Gang anniversary video stream, and we were talking about a debut album that came out 2 years ago that I had some production on. And I decided to chat a little bit about mental health. And for myself, the majority of my calendar year, on top of everything that was going on, is last fall I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder 2. And I've been going through like a huge medication regimen. It was insane. I don't even remember most of the first, I'd say, 5 months of the year.
Holy shit.
And then by the time I was on Outrage Factory in June, I was still pretty out of it, but I was like just coming online again, essentially. And
was that just like as you were adjusting to the meds? Like it basically took like that point for your body to adapt to it? Or
I was going like every 2 weeks with a change or something. Like every 2 or 3 weeks there would be like a different amount in terms of dosage, or there would be like an actual like complete med change. So I'd have like withdrawals, and it was, it's hard for me to say this. It's like I couldn't recommend the experience because of like how bad it was, but at the same time, I'm so grateful that I stuck with it, because now I'm in a very good regimen. I'm where I need to be. I'm comfortable. I seem to be stable. The last like 2.5 months have been the best months I've had in the past 14 months. So it's something I'm dealing with literally like every hour, like every minute of your life. You're like, it's something you got to be on top of. But I think if you go to therapy, if you do the right thing, if you have people in your life that can support you, and you have this like desire to be a part of something and not let it destroy you, and like actually kind of use it, it's pretty big. I think the hardest part for me is like, for people who may not know, it's like when you're bipolar, it's like you go through periods of mania where you're extremely like you have it's euphoric, right? It's you're having like huge bursts of creativity. You don't sleep. You're a superhero. You can do everything, and everything's super extraordinary. It's like being on shrooms and ecstasy all at the same time. It's like it's huge. And then what happens is you pay the price, and the price comes in depression, and you drop from that. So this like complete worldview of like nothing can stop you to like nothing is worth anything. And I mean, I was going through that so long that I just thought that was regular life. And I had life events in my life when I was younger that masked that and made that seem like it was like pretty normal, right? So I had like, it's like, oh, I moved away at a particular time when usually diagnosis happen. Yeah. So like usually when someone would be diagnosed, I was in an age group where I moved away. So people would be like, oh, you're just homesick. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. And then like another time it's like, what happened? Oh, I had a major career change. So then there was like, okay, this is you're probably just dealing with stress. And it's like, okay. But like eventually I got to a point where everything was good on paper, but I was still down. And I realized I was like, okay, something's up. And I was just in this really bad place last year and decided to finally reach out for help. And it's probably the best thing I ever did, man, because it's given me so much insight into myself and into this process with other people. Like I tend to be like a little bit more sensitive now when I see people when they like call something crazy or whatever like that. It's like I look at it like, this person's crazy. It's like it's this person possession crazy. Like what is actually they're going through is like probably pretty difficult in a lot of sense. So just having empathy that's developed out of that is probably the biggest thing that's come out of it for me. It's huge.
That's fucking wild. I had no idea you were going through that shit, man. So
yeah, it's definitely good to hear you're doing better.
Thanks, guys. This is really bad, but like I'm really good at hiding it. It's like you get like really, really, really good at hiding it. I think especially when like what we do, like in a realm of entertainment, there's this expectation of like being on, and there's this idea that if you're not on, something's wrong. And because you're always at that level, even if you deviate even slightly from it, people know. Like if you like, I'm extremely outgoing when I'm up. So people are like, if I'm quiet for even a little bit, people are like, what's up? Something's wrong. Something must be terribly wrong. And I get it, because on the outside, that's how it seems. But it's like, I get these like external pressures that kind of make me feel like I have to be on. And that's where I'm learning to like get my floors and my ceilings. Like I used to have these floors and ceilings like this, like I'd be up and down, up, down, up, down. And then now it's like they've just kind of narrowed the bandwidth a little bit. Now I know where it's at. And that's what the meds do. They just like, I still get up and I still get down and I still cycle normally, but now it's a bit more understandable. I know what's happening. If all of a sudden I'm like, hey, I don't need to sleep, it's like, should probably call the therapist and see what's going on. That's probably what needs to be done.
So, and it like less at the extremes for you, and more like, are you able to kind of bring it more into the like a manageable zone? Like your energy levels aren't like here or here, they're more, you can bring them closer together.
Yeah, like on the current meds I'm on, it makes me feel like that. When I was talking earlier, when referring to like being like completely out of it and not remembering stuff, I was on something called Seroquel, and I don't know how people do anything on Seroquel, because when I was on it, I was literally like just to give an idea, I was also dealing with a condo flood at the exact same time. So I think the last time I was on the show, I was at that other place, like where the insurance company put us up. So I was like waking up every day in a bed that wasn't mine, in a mind that wasn't mine, and I was like
nuts.
watching myself. Yeah, it was very surreal, and then I was already in a surreal spot. It was just a very strange existence, and then suddenly all that flipped, and now I'm back home, and I was like, okay, let's change meds again, and I'm back to like being stable. So I feel like the music I do really reflects that. That's why something like Chatterless, the song titles really mean something to me, because it's instrumental music, but I try to emote these feelings in the music that, like, when you hear it, it's like, okay, this is me talking through it in the way that I feel. So when I write a song like I feel like like my ambition is choking me, like a song title like that, it's like I do feel like that sometimes, like my ambition is choking me. It's like I want to do everything all at once, and that's what it's like being manic. And then you write a song called Kindness, because like even the slightest gesture of kindness will like make you burst into tears sometimes, and you're like, where is this emotion coming from? And you write a song like Insecurities Melt, and it's like that's like a hope for the future. It's like, I want that, man. I want that to be where I'm going to be next. I want my insecurities to fade away and melt. And that's kind of why, the stuff I'm coming out with in January is like this brand new challenge. It's this whole new genre in synthwave, and I'm doing all like retro based, kind of like 80s vibe.
That sounds
And
good.
it's yeah, I think
I can't
Dale's
wait.
sold already. Dale's
Yeah.
sold.
You hit me up with the synthwave and the retro, and I'm like, what? Because I already like all your stuff. I'm a big fan of already, because it's kind of like the vaporwave, but not. It's like it's so hard to pinpoint it, because it's like there's so many genres now. It's like kind of like the retro futurism wave mixed with vaporwave in there. It's like, it's really good. It reminds me a lot of Sun Glitters, some of it, which is really good, which is kind of like
the
Tycho would be the most popular band that I could compare you to.
I had actually, that's funny. I've had someone directly compare me to that before as well. So that's a cool comparison. Tycho's a very popular act, obviously. So that's dope.
You earned it.
I feel like well, I appreciate that, and thank you for listening. Obviously, the challenge that comes out of this new genre is going to be, like, I don't know anyone in the community. All the playlist curators that I'm in touch with are like I feel like the new kid on the first day of school, basically. I'm just like, hey, you should check me out. And they're like, why? I'm like, oh, because I'm a good guy. And they're like, aren't you like a rap guy? I'm like, I don't know. So I feel like I'm trying to like sing for my supper in a way, and I'll make it happen, hopefully. But January 8th, the first single comes out. It's called Stay With Me. And all the pre-listens so far that have happened, I've hit every demographic so far to test it out, and everyone tells me that it's still in their head like a week later. So that's the hype, and I stand behind it. I hope people will really like it when it comes out January 8th.
January 8th.
Start the new year.
Under Chatterless? Is that
under Chatterless? Yeah,
Very
that's right. Under Chatterless. Yeah, as in Chatterless instrumental. There you go.
Nice. Yeah.
I totally derailed this whole show, boys. With
no, it's fine.
No, that was fucking dope, man. Like, I think this is probably gonna go down in history as our most thoughtful and introspective episode. So I just want to say, like, thank you for sharing that shit with us.
A lot of people respect when people talk about it, because a lot of people are kind of like
a lot of people. No, not Dale, but a lot of people do.
No, but you know what I mean? Like Tadeo was saying in the comments, she's like, thanks for telling your story. A lot of people aren't willing to talk about it. But it's like you were saying, like, you didn't really recognize what the problem was because there's life events. So maybe someone else is like going through life events too, and they're like, oh shit, maybe I should just go get this checked out or go talk to someone.
Yeah.
And not go
one
on
thing
Seroquel.
I want to say too is yeah, at all. Don't recommend. I mean, unless it works for you. If it does, then by all means. But like, one thing I want to just add is like, sometimes people get diagnosed with something in mental health, and then they use that as an excuse for their behavior. And because there's times in the past where I was like not acting right, or I wasn't treating people correctly, and like to now. The big thing in therapy I have is like not to repaint the past. So you're not supposed to look back and try and fix things and be like, well, I should have been this, but I was probably manic, or I was probably depressed, or Right. So that's part of that is like repainting the past and not doing that. So one thing I'd say is like when you get diagnosed, your prescription is not your not your prescription. Your diagnosis is not your prognosis. Like you can be anything beyond that, right? But like it's your responsibility. Like once you know, it's your responsibility to take care of that. It's not your excuse generator, it's your responsibility. You have to be able to accept the fact that like what's happening with you is like people can only react to what you're doing. So if you're not taking care of yourself or you're not doing the right things to, mitigate a lot of the problems that come out of your mental health condition, then it's on you, and you got to do that. A lot, like a popular example, people like probably look at someone like Kanye, who has been, talking about bipolar disorder for a little bit, and people are like, well, he's probably manic or he's probably this, and it's like it's his responsibility to seek treatment. It's his responsibility to have people around him that are going to support him. It's his responsibility to be on medication if that's what his condition calls for. That goes for anyone, but like I see some people that get it and then like all of a sudden they think that, oh, now I can do what I want because now I'm just like, I can be wild and whatever. It's like, no, dude, full stop. That's like, you have to be responsible first and foremost for yourself and your actions. That's it. I just want to say that because I read a lot of the stuff online with like the bipolar subreddits are just a trip and a half. Sometimes I'll say that. Sometimes I don't feel like I belong there, but at the same time, it's good to know some of those directions. But yeah, boys, thanks for letting me share that. I appreciate that.
Oh,
That's
hey,
awesome.
no problem. And like I told you before, like we don't really answer to anybody, so we can do whatever the fuck we want on this podcast. And it's just like, what are you gonna do? Not give us money like we're already not doing?
Yeah,
like
no sponsors.
Kidding.
It's kind of freeing because we can just like we'll start talking about like dicks in video games, and then we'll just start talking about bipolar because we could go wherever we want. And this like everybody, and it's funny because a lot of people will hold themselves back because they're like, well, we can't sway that much on a podcast. It's like that's what everybody else like thinks about and talks about. Like if you're sitting down and you're talking with your friends and you're like fucking around, you just go through the gamut of all these topics anyway. So it's like on a podcast, you might as well just talk about whatever comes up because it also keeps the natural conversation flowing because it's not like you're going to just stay straight and narrow if you're just hanging out with someone.
Yeah, it's kind of comparable to this. I had a friend. I have a couple friends in improv that I was talking to, and one of my friends told me something about improv that's really interesting is if you have something going on in your life, some kind of thing that you're repressing and you're just suppressing it and pushing it down or away or something, some way or another, it will work its way out in improv.
Oh, yeah.
It'll come up. Yeah, which is really, so I was like terrified by that when she first told me, my friend who told me. But then I thought about it and I was like, you know what, that makes total sense. And it's kind of the same in podcasting with conversation. It's like, if there's something to be discussed, it's like, it should just be out there on the table. Let's talk about it. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
And like, that's why I like this show. Cause you guys give takes on things that are really happening and you guys source this material from the listeners. That's the best part. Like, I love it. It's like, what made you angry this week? Okay, cool. Yeah. Now we know exactly what we're talking about. Like, that's so smart. I like that. It's like a dope show idea. Makes me think about podcasts and how I should come back to podcasts. But
I was going to ask, when are you coming back?
If you need guests, we're here.
Sounds like you missed the game a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit. I'm going to be doing a podcast tomorrow too. I'm going to be on Nightcap Uncensored, which is usually on TELUS Story Hive. It's like usually live streamed on TELUS, like the TELUS channel. It's kind of like a Wayne's World show, which is kind of awesome.
Uncensored sounds like you're going to talk about dicks again.
Yeah, should have saved all your dick material for that.
Hey, if you want to steal my dick stories, go ahead.
yeah, straight up. So I'll be doing that 7 p.m. Pacific tomorrow if anyone's around.
Oh, nice. 7 and 7, 2 days in a row.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That'll be my last adult responsible thing I have to do until Christmas, actually.
Nice. Last part of the year.
Yeah. But yeah, dudes, I think like what you guys do is dope, and I think you guys should keep doing it. And when it comes to podcasts and me, I feel like I have a lot of I still have a lot to do in terms of like getting myself ready mentally, because
Mm-hmm.
part of the winding down of intergalactic interviews is I was being beaten down pretty hard near the end there. I was having to like be on
Yeah.
when I was
You weren't feeling
completely
it.
depressed. Oh my God, it was so hard. It's very hard to ask other people questions when you feel like everything you say out of your mouth is pointless. It's
Mm.
it's tough. So yeah, I think like I have a couple show ideas. I have a couple concepts I think that will really make sense.
Well, don't
I'm
say them
not
or people will steal them. Keep
yeah,
those to yourself, guy.
I will say this. I'm not really interested in doing something like intergalactic interviews again. I'm not
Mhm.
really interested in doing like a long form podcast again. Like I think what I want to do is some kind of segment based thing, you know,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's yeah, and that's something to me that is appealing both as a producer and as
Mhm.
like a host. It makes way more sense to me because then it's like a challenge and it feels like it's something different.
Yeah, like especially now it's really good because you could basically take like segment like you were talking about improv before, so you could do like little sketches and mix them up and then just throw them online on YouTube and like people could watch them. Like I just watched that I don't know if you guys have seen it, the Auntie Donna thing. It's like they just got a show on Netflix. I
Yeah,
think there's
yeah.
like 8 episodes, but they had like really short videos on YouTube before. Like it would just be like 2 minute videos, and it would be like this like funny sketch they did, and it's just so hilarious. But it was like,
Absurd as shit. Yeah.
yeah, it would just be like 2 minutes of them fucking around, and then that's it. So it's like,
Are those the guys that say everything's a drum? Is that those
Yeah.
guys?
yes, everything
That's
is
the
a drum.
one.
That's like one of the
Awesome.
segments. Yeah.
That's great.
So
Okay, yeah, they're funny, man. They're really funny.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
then
like that. That's cool.
yeah, that would be really fun to produce. Like, get into like making like a little TV show and just like do 2 minutes and be like, all right, there it is, world, go enjoy it.
Well, I mean, there's
Yeah,
so many
Exactly.
fucking podcasts out there that are like long form interviews, like,
yeah.
and nobody has the attention span for like as much as we would like to convince ourselves that everyone's sitting through our hour and 10 minute
Derek, there's people
of these.
sitting here right now. They've been here for
Yeah,
an
but
hour.
those people like they left
Hi,
and
everyone.
jerked off during the dick talk, and
Yeah.
then came back and tuned back in for a bit, and no, I don't think I barely pay attention to shit for an hour now. I mean, I don't even pay attention to this podcast while we're recording it.
Oh snap!
The view
I
the views of
counterpoint.
Outrage
Yeah.
Factory do not reflect the views of Catalyst or MD Productions.
Yeah, I listen to
I'm just
long
kidding. But
form podcasts all the time because like the audiobook like I was talking about before, I listen to them while I work. So I'll throw like to me, if a podcast is less than an hour, I'm like, can't you just make it longer? Because I just want to turn it on and then go fuck around. I don't want to have to constantly be like looking at my phone and picking a new song or a new podcast and shit because I'm more
Mhm.
likely to get in trouble from my boss if he comes up and I'm like trying to find some. Like that's actually
That's a good point.
the reason I got so into Joe Rogan is because he's always 3 hours long and he's always like his conversations are like this. They probably less dick talk, but they run the gambit and they go everywhere. So I'll turn it on and then I'll just listen and then I'll like do other stuff and then yeah. So
Yeah, I think that's smart because like it's funny. I used to get like split feedback on intergalactic interviews, which was
yeah.
60 minutes runtime, right? So we
Hmm.
used to do an hour, but then I'd get people that'd be like, "Oh, I felt like you were just getting started," and
Yeah.
I'd say like, "Oh," I'd be like, "Okay," and then I get people that were like, "Damn, dude, can't you just do like 10 minutes?" I feel
Just yeah,
I'm
just
like,
listen to it
okay,
in 10-minute increments.
yeah. So
Like,
I
yeah.
I I always felt like I was missing either 50% of one or the other.
Yeah.
So
Can't please
so I
everybody.
exactly. So
Hmm.
um that's why I talk about like this whatever I do next, and I'm not saying it's even going to be soon or something, but like whatever I do next, I know it's going to be segment based, and I know it's going to be um just a little bit different than long form style that I was previously known for. Maybe that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
All right.
Because
Well,
I'm ready, yeah, in a lot of ways, but also I think it's important to take time to relax and know what I'm doing. Just Outrage podcast now.
yeah, you got to make sure you're ready.
Well, I was gonna ask the question, like, with the bipolar diagnosis, like when you're looking at taking on creative. And by the way, I really want to I also host a mental health and sobriety podcast for men, and I would love to get you on as a guest on that, where we could potentially talk more in depth about this, if you'd be interested.
Yeah,
But
I would love that. Yeah, honestly.
So when you're looking at like taking on new projects, do you have to be like really thoughtful about like, okay, I know if I'm going to be like cycling like this, like kind of mapping your more creative or when you want to actually produce shit against when you're feeling up, so that you can like take care of yourself when you're down?
Yeah, it's a great question. Under therapeutic direction, I've been advised not to do what I was doing before, because I used to think it was normal to like bury the needle in the red and just like stay up for days and session to session to session and just think that's okay. And now it's like, now what I do is I take on a project and then I finish that project. Then I take on another project and I'll finish that project. Right now I'm doing 2, but it's because I'm doing a co-production on something else. So it's like someone else is already doing 50% of the work. So I think it's okay to take on 1.25 of a project, but that's the way I'm managing it right now. And it's easier to digest to, because I actually think it works in my favor in a couple ways. Because I think the other way is that like people that want you to work on their project or become clients, they realize that like your time is finite and it's not something that you can just peter out like I was. Because before I'd be like, yeah, you can call me anytime, I'll be up and I'll work for you. And now it's like, well, I'm doing this project for March, and if we want to talk in April, then we can talk in April. And it's not even like my time's crazy valuable or something, but it's like, this is what works for me right now in mental health. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. There's a lot of people out there you can go see, but if you want me specifically to work on it, then this is what we're gonna have to work with schedule wise.
That's fucking dope. And I wish more people kind of took that approach to it, because it's almost like we have this this fetishization of like fucking hustle culture, and everyone should be doing everything always. And like, to hear a professional be like, no, I'm gonna fucking box my time, and like, yeah, if you want me, you can wait, and if not, go find one of those fucking people to do it. It's exactly. Respect to that. So
no, thanks, man. Yeah, exactly. I think that, like what you said, like the fetishing of like you got to be working 110%, give 200%. All like if you're not, or like that stupid meme that came out in March where it's like, if you don't come out of the pandemic with a new skill or a language, you wasted your time. And it's like, are you out of your fucking mind? Like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Looking back, like, fuck, if we come, like, I didn't fucking learn, I don't think I learned a single, I like got on the sourdough bread baking train like for the first month of the pandemic, and then I was like, well, now I just want to fucking survive without killing myself. Like that was the end. Like, fuck learning a new skill or like taking on new projects. Like, nobody has to do any of that shit, especially when we're all like traumatized by what's going on in the world.
Exactly.
It's fucking absurd.
Exactly. I felt like when I first started, I was really, so out of it on meds that I felt like, what can I do other than like maybe play video games and try to remember where I was last time? Like that was like the highest point I could reach, because I wasn't able to produce music or anything at this other location. Everything was like locked away. It wasn't until like very late stages I had any of my gear up, and it was still then, it wasn't like just right. It was still, I have this particular setup I have to have in terms of like where keyboards are and things like that, and it just wasn't where it was. And so I came out of it with like almost like the respect that Derek was talking about, was like, oh, just being able to stand up was like such a victory and such a gratitude moment. It's like, yeah, just being able to play keys and play you guys like just being able to play keys is so fun,
Yeah.
So yeah, I try to take that with me now and be like, okay, it can be all ripped from you very quickly. All it takes is a couple drops from the roof, you know. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like not only did we not tackle a lot of the topics today, but for a
That's an
Christmas edition,
understatement.
this was
Not-
rather dark Christmas
fa-
edition.
Hey,
It
we've
was-
got Christmas flair. That's all you need.
No, I think it was a fucking dark year for everyone. If you're gonna say this wasn't a dark year for you, like fuck, that's not even fucking. You're a fucking liar. Like I cannot imagine anyone being like, 2020, not bad. It was okay.
It's probably a sociopath thing. That's a sociopath thing to say for sure.
If anyone says that, just fucking run as far away from them as you can.
I think I heard Bill Burr once say, he was like, you can always tell a sociopath because on December 26th on Boxing Day, the tree's already like bagged up and in the alley, and so they're already done. So it's like I showed what I had to show for human emotion. Now I'm done. Like that level.
Fuck this symbol of happiness.
Yeah.
I love Bill Burr.
Yeah,
but we all survived the year.
Yeah.
Fucking, things are looking up. I'm on my feet. Jamie's on his feet. Dale's
on my feet. Come on.
Got a big video game dick.
Yeah, I do.
To play with.
Biggest video game big.
Yeah.
Big.
Awesome.
Yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to cover?
Just go check out Dosed, guys. That's what I wanted to say. If you guys go check out Dosed documentary, again, it's available on Apple TV. It's on YouTube rental. You can get it on Amazon Prime, I believe. If you have a VPN, it's even easier to navigate that and just find it pretty much anywhere. But Dosed is the name of the documentary. I scored all the music for it. It's super good. It has a lot of awards and reviews that say it's positive, so I really recommend it. And January 8th, Stay With Me, the first single, is coming out from my new synthwave album, and that album's titled Nobody from Nowhere with Nothing. So I'm really stoked to share that with everyone. I hope you guys all have that. Merry Christmas. That's all I gotta say.
Merry Christmas.
Jayme McDonald, aka Chatterless, thanks for coming out and sharing your story with us, man. We sincerely appreciate that, and you are always a really thoughtful and engaging and entertaining guy. We love having you on, and when you launch your new podcast, we'll be happy to come back on that as well, and share our dick talk with you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for putting your heart out there. That was great.
Thanks, guys, for having me on. I appreciate it, boys. You guys are awesome. And everyone watching this right now, thank you so much for tuning in and listening and having a chance to share with us today. That's pretty rad to experience that together.
You're so much nicer to them than Derek.
I would like to add, fuck our listeners. I hope you all have a shitty holiday. No, for real. Thanks for taking this ride with us this year. Dale and I will probably have a 2020 in review coming out over the next few weeks, and it will be all about COVID. I don't even know what the fuck else happened this year, but really, thank you for taking the time out and spending your Saturday nights with us for the past year, or whenever you end up listening to this, and wishing you all a happy whatever winter holiday you celebrate.
That's a good way to put it. Happy holidays.
Should we all sing? Should we sing "We Wish You a Merry Christmas" all broken in Zoom style with all buffering and everything?
Fuck yeah, let's do it.
Why not?
Play us out.
We wish
you a Merry Christmas.
We wish
you a Merry Christmas.
We wish
you a Merry Christmas.
Hey, big finish.
And a Happy New Year.
Yeah,
we
did it.
Did all our mics just cut out? Because we peaked them too hard.
Outrage Factory now.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks
boys.
everyone
Thanks
for
for
tuning
having
in. And until next year,
stay angry. Sexy Saturday night before Christmas.
Outrage Factory now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, I'm going live.
go ahead.
This is dope. We should always have you on, and you could just be our like.
Yeah,
live
Paul
soundtrack.
Schaefer.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like Paul Schaefer, just be like, yeah, the Outrage Factory hose band, Mr. Jayme McDonald. And then you can like
Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Jayme.